Jonathan Majors was set to play the big bad, Kang the Conqueror, for this new multiverse phase of MCU stories. After first being introduced in Loki Season 1 as He Who Remains, the character of Kang, or variants of himself, have since appeared in Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumani and Loki Season 2, with many more appearances on the horizon as the character was built up to be the next Thanos-level threat for the Avengers. That was, however, before Majors was arrested in March on domestic violence allegations. Now, 8 months later, a verdict has finally been reached. The actor was found guilty of harassment and assault in the third degree, per The Hollywood Reporter. Majors was also found not guilty of one of the accounts of assault and not guilty of aggravated harassment in the second degree. He faces up to a year in prison with a sentencing date set for February 6th of next year. And as we would expect them to, Marvel Studios has officially dropped Majors from all upcoming MCU projects, meaning fans will no longer see Jonathan Majors playing the role of Kang in any MCU projects in the future. I had a video last week talking about Kang Dynasty and what the outlook of that movie is right now, and if you saw that or have kept up with some of the news, then you know that Marvel is currently very unsure of what to do right now, with reports being that they're considering swapping Kang out for Doctor Doom as the phase's villain. If you want more of the details, check that video out, but there's also the fact that Kang Dynasty currently has no director attached, and a new lead writer was brought on within the past few months as well. So a lot is still up in the air for this movie. According to reports, it is now being referred to as Avengers 5 inside of Marvel Studios, rather than the Kang Dynasty, the original title that was given to the film. I'd like to take a short break from the subject to inform you all about Ask Me, a new brand that I've partnered with. Using the link in the description of this video, which will direct you to the website, this ensures that you receive a response for any question or comment that you may have. If that interests you, check that out in the link below after the video. Now, back to the video. This all leaves Marvel really with only two main options as for how to proceed. The easiest is to recast the role of Kang with a new actor, something that has already happened multiple times in the MCU. The most notable cases included Mark Ruffalo replacing Edward Norton as the Hulk, and Terrence Howard leaving his role as War Machine in favor of Don Cheadle. Now, both of these instances were with smaller roles than Kang, and much earlier on in the MCU's history, but it's still a very realistic solution that I don't think many fans would have a problem with. Especially since Kang has countless variants across space and time, it wouldn't be hard to comprehend from a story perspective if the character had a different face moving forward. Since the verdict hit the news, many have already begun sharing their picks to recast the character, with some of the most popular being Yahya Abdul-Mateen II, John Boyega, John David Washington, Will Smith, or even Gugu Mbatha-Raw's Ravonna Renslayer assuming the role of Kang and the big bad for the phase. The more difficult move for Marvel Studios would be to write Kang out of the MCU completely and pivot to an entirely new villain for the Multiverse saga. Kang and his variants have played a huge role in recent MCU projects, mainly Loki Seasons 1 and 2 and Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumani, although both Quantumani and Loki Season 2 both ended in such a way that Kang's story could be considered done, even though it would be extremely anticlimactic for fans. This would also involve a brand new villain having to be introduced for the phase in much less time, with the fifth Avengers film currently set to premiere May 1st, 2026. So not only would a villain have to be introduced, but they would have to be scaled to feel like the same kind of threat that Thanos was, with the same level of payoff that the movie had. There have been various claims of Marvel Studios moving away from a Kang-centric Avengers 5, and considering Doctor Doom as the MCU's new lead villain, but like I mentioned in my previous video, this is something that I'm firmly against at the moment, even though they may be able to pull it off. I think the best way to move forward with the story and not disrupt the fandom is to recast and double down on Kang as the villain of the Multiverse saga. What do you think Marvel Studios should do? Let me know in the comments below. Remember to like the video and subscribe for more Marvel videos every week, and remember to follow me on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. Thank you all for watching, and remember, the Force will be with you. Always.